Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulihil Kareem wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa nistanna bi sunnatihi ila yawmiddin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers. Before we start today, inshallah ta'ala, because we have done week 12, 13 and 14, inshallah ta'ala, we'll finish week 14 today. So next Saturday or Sunday morning, I will have a quiz, inshallah ta'ala. So I will upload the study material again into our Viber link, or also in the Facebook, the Quaker Masjid Facebook. So, and also we'll have the printout here, inshallah ta'ala, if not today's Maghrib, from tomorrow's Maghrib. And it will be like, it's only 3 videos, because now we don't do it like all these videos. So last 2 weeks and 2 days. So it's 3 videos and whatever is the material we cover, inshallah ta'ala. And before we begin, we just have to clear our intention that we are doing this for, just so that we can learn something from the Quran. It's not like a deep tafsir, it's just like going through the meaning, and if this ayah is related to any particular incident, what Allah tried to say in this ayah and everything. So we'll start with a quick review that we had done last week from ayah 162 to 182. So basically we did over there, the following blindly to others, and we know that what happens, there Allah mentioned some people that they follow in this world, like the leaders or other people, and what happened in the day of judgment. So they are seeing in that. Also Allah tells to the whole people that you should eat halal and pure things. Our earning should be halal, the way they consume the food. Also we learn about the shaitans, how shaitan derail people, the 2 ways, the su and fahsha, which is su and fahsha. Su means all the evil, and fahsha means that the something that is very tempting, something that is mixed with some other evils in that nature. Also we did the example of a shepherd with a sheep, that how shepherd calls the sheep, but sheep doesn't understand what the shepherd is saying. So Allah give the example there. Also the command for the believer, ya ayyuhallazina amanu, Allah said kulu tayyiban, meaning Allah telling the believer and giving the list of foods that are not halal for them, like we told the pork, the blood, the dead animal, all these things, and the animals that slaughter on the name of some other gods or other idols or something. So those are not halal. We mentioned those things. Also we learned that once Allah told these things to the believer, these are knowledge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but there are a group of people at that time, even in now, they misinterpret the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They change the ayah of the book and they interpret it in such a way that it is beneficial for themselves. And this is how they corrupt the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so Allah mentioned what happens to them. Also the definition of al-bir. This is a comprehensive ayah of ayah 177, if you remember. Allah explain what is the goodness, what is goodness mean, what is mean to be a good people. That we have to have belief, we have to have sabr. If we have money, we have the love for money, but we have to give the money to our relatives and everything first. Then we establish the prayer and zakah. So all these things on there in the definition of al-bir, and also the law of qisas. And we mentioned that the law of qisas, we don't apply it here because we don't have Islamic state now here. But the law of qisas and the law of the wasiya or the bequest. But we say that the law of the bequest was more detailed in Surah An-Nisa, when Allah will mention how the inheritance will be dealt. So these are the things. Now just a quick thing about the flow of the ayah. You may think, even if when you read Quran or translation of the Quran, you may think like, why Allah talking about something else here, and then just all of a sudden the subject changes and everything. But everything is related to each other. It's just like there's a way of thinking, and that's why you have to read the tafsir and everything, so understand why Allah mentioning one after these things. See, when Allah mentioned about the goodness, the al-bir, what is to be a good means, that is an individual thing. Iman, when Allah talk about iman, it is a personal thing. My iman is not the same as your iman. Your iman is not same as the iman of Sheikh Yusuf, or his iman is not same as the iman of some people in Bangladesh, India. Everybody's iman is different. Yes, we believe in the main basic things, but still, our level of piety, our level of righteousness is different. So those things were individual. When Allah finished talking about individual, that giving money to the people, your money, right? It's the individual money Allah talking about. Your salah, everything Allah talking individual. The next thing Allah talk, after the individual is done, Allah go to the extreme collective thing. Individual to the collective thing, to the social thing. And what is in the social thing? The most corrupt thing can happen in the social, in a Muslim society, to killing each other. That's why Allah mentioned the qisas. Why one people should kill each other, and if it is kill, if someone kill other, what is to be done? That is the qisas. So, and then So Allah say about the individual thing and the social thing, and in between the society and individual thing, there is another thing called family. Because the family makes up the society. Because I am not myself. I have a family of 3. You have a family of 4 or 5 or 6. And all these people together, we make a society. And what does Allah talk about the family? Allah said the greatest fitna can happen in the family, a death. Like if someone dies from your family, it is a great shocking. It doesn't matter if she is your mother or father or husband or wife or children. So Allah talk about if he die, what we should do before we die. What we should advise to the people before we die. And that's why Allah mentioned the big questions. And after that, Allah talks about another individual thing that we'll talk, and that is the topic of the Siyam, the Ramadan. So these are the topic, inshallah ta'ala, we'll quickly go through them today. Fasting, Ramadan and its ruling, between the ayah of this thing, then the ayah about the bribery. There's only one ayah about bribery. You understand what I mean by bribery, like giving money to someone to get your work done. The introductory ayah of the lunar timing or Hajj, and the first command for jihad and its initial law. Now the fasting, these ayahs are pretty pretty big, and there's a lot of things, a lot of laws inside it. And in the Quran, as I mentioned, there's a different topic was discussed in different places. Like the story of Musa was described in different places, as you know. The story of Adam alayhi salam, that Allah made the Adam and tell Iblis to do sujood. This mention is mentioned in the Quran 7 times. 7 times this story was mentioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Different topics come in different times in the day of judgment. What's going to happen to the day of judgment? How the sky will tear apart. How the sun and moon will collapse. All these things were described in different surahs. But for Siyam, for fasting, this is the only place that Allah in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah says so nicely and so deeply in few ayah, almost 5 or 6 ayah. So we'll talk about the Siyam now. Now the first 2 ayah of the Siyam, these things talk about the early law of the fasting, not Ramadan, early law of fasting. What do I mean by early law? Fasting was also prescribed on other people, meaning the Jewish, the Bani Israel and everything. So Allah is talking about those. And before Ramadan and the fasting was obligatory on Muslims, on Islam, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to fast just like the Jews used to fast. And some scholars say there's 3 days of the month. So they used to fast 3 days of the month, just like the Jewish did. So now first thing we need to know, what is the meaning of Siyam. I'll tell you the meaning of Siyam a bit later, because in normal language Siyam means fasting. That's what we mean. But there's another meaning of Siyam, very interesting meaning of Siyam. I'll talk about it a bit later. And the purpose of the fasting, as you know, this ayah, you have listened to this ayah every Ramadan. Every sheikh tell this ayah, because this is the only ayah about the Ramadan. That Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyamu ala kutiba minal qablina anakum. Meaning that oh you believe, the fasting has been prescribed for you, la'allakum tattaqun, so that you can attain taqwa. So the main purpose of fasting is taqwa. And it is not the purpose of Ramadan, it is the purpose of fasting. Don't mix up Ramadan and fasting together, because we will see how Allah differentiates these two things. And also, the early law of fasting, it says, Allah is saying here, that fasting is for limited number of days. See, here it's a limited number of days. Allah didn't talk about the month. As I said, some scholars say at that time, they used to fast for 3 days only. The middle 3 days of the month. 11, 12 or 13 or sometimes say 12, 13, 14. So, it's a limited number of time, and Allah is saying, if you miss those fast, if you miss those 3 days of fast, you have 2 options to make it up. What are the 2 options? You can either fast them later on, so you can make make the fasting later on, or you can feed the poor, give like fidya or poor people. So they have 2 options to make up. So these are the early laws of the Siyam, and as I said, the few numbers and 2 options to make up. Now the next ayah is ayah about the Ramadan. Then Allah says, Shahru Ramadan allazi unzila fihi al-Quran. Look, Allah didn't say month. Shahru means month. Ramadan means Ramadan month. Allah didn't say Ramadan month is for fasting. What did Allah say? Allah said Ramadan is the month when I reveal the Quran. And then Allah talk about how great is the Quran. Allah, the first part of this ayah, Allah talk about the Quran, because Ramadan is not for fasting only. It is the month of Quran. And this is the month actually identified the Ummah. As I mentioned before, just few ayah before, we have changed the Qibla. Now we have a different Qibla. Before, all the Muslims used to pray to Jerusalem, and then we know the incident of the Qibla change. It's a new Qibla for us, that we are all praying towards the Kaaba. The second thing Allah saying, Ramadan is the month that you start fasting now. Why? Because this is the month I did Quran. So the Jewish is thinking, look, They used to pray towards our Qibla, now they changed that one. So one thing is changed. Now they're changing the fasting. They used to fast as we used to fast. Now they have a different month for the fasting. And why it is different? Because now they have a different book. And what is this book? This book is a guidance not only for the Jewish, it is a guidance for all people, Muslim, Jewish, Christian, everybody. Hudal linnas. This is a guidance for all people. So this is how Allah separate the nation by telling all these things. And then Allah says, if you miss one of these Ramadan months, you know the fiqh of Ramadan. Like if you suppose you are sick and you miss, three fasting during the month of Ramadan, what you should do? You should make it up. You have to make it up. You don't have any other option. So over there, the early law, you have two options. You have to make it up, or you can feed the poor people. But here Allah give you only one option. Also over there the number of days were only 3-4 days. Here Allah saying whoever see the month, whoever see the moon, he should fast the whole month. So is it difficult or harder? If you compare the previous law and new law, is the new law harder or easier? Harder, obviously. 30 days, the days increased by 10 times, from 3 days to 30 days. And also, the option of making it also less. Previously, I had two options. If I had money, I could give it to the poor people and feed. But now I feel less. But then immediately what Allah says, and I want you guys to look at this ayah, this is one of the intentions. It's not like sitting here and understand. If you just explain this one ayah to your friends and family before Ramadan, you will understand the purpose of Ramadan, how beautifully Allah said. When we understand this become difficult, and right away Allah said, Allah doesn't want difficulty for you. Allah wants ease for you, and He doesn't want difficulty for you. Yuridu Allahu bikum yusra, wala yuridu bikum usra. Allah is saying, no, this is not for difficult for you. And how it is possible? We are saying it's difficult, but Allah is saying, no, I am making it easy for you. Why it is easy? Because the purpose of Ramadan is to get taqwa. And how do you get taqwa? Allah said, la'allakum tattaqun. So Ramadan gives you taqwa. So the more you fast, you will have more taqwa. If I say if you want to get, you have to be a good runner in the Olympic. You're going to practice one day or you're going to practice 7 days? Of course you have to practice 7 days or more days, more times. So Allah gives in Ramadan, you attain taqwa during the daytime, and at night time you get the guidance from the book that I have sent in this month. So the purpose of Ramadan is not only fasting. You fast during the day just to get yourself ready, get the taqwa, make yourself ready at taqwa. And during the night, you recite the Quran, or you listen to the Quran, or you read the Quran. Why? Because that is the guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And at that time, it will be easy for you, because you have the taqwa during the day. Now you have the bunch of taqwa in your heart, suppose. And now you use this taqwa to get the guidance inside you. And that's how Allah make it different, that Ramadan's purpose is different. And also Allah said, and I did this so that you become grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why you become grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because it is Allah's blessing that Allah has made us a part of this ummah, and also Allah give the guidance in this month, the book, and with this guidance we will attain taqwa. And when you are a person with taqwa, a muttaqi, then only when you will be going to the Jannah. So that's why Allah said, I given all these things, don't think it's hard for you. It is easy for you. Not only easy, you should be grateful to me, because I have given you this month, I have given you this book. So this is what Allah mentioned in this ayah. Next ayah, inshallah ta'ala. This is a very small ayah, but this is such a beautiful ayah. Only about this ayah you can talk like probably hours and hours and hours, because, and I remember that Sheikh Yusuf once talked about this ayah in one of the Friday lecture. Here Allah is saying, when you have the taqwa after the Ramadan, this is still related to Ramadan. So the whole month you fasted, you listen to Quran, you read Quran. Now you are trying to be a good person, you are a person with the taqwa. Once you are a person with taqwa, you have question in your mind, right? And you ask about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah is saying, when my slave, whenever you say something with my, you have the attachment with this. So Allah is expressing that my slave, Allah is presenting His attachment with the slave. See, if I say, this is a laptop, that's one thing. If I say, this is my laptop, so I have a relationship with the laptop. Already you know that, whenever I say my. When Allah says my slave, Allah is mentioning that this is my slave. And Allah is saying to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when they will ask you about me, then Allah, what is the natural thing to say? Tell them that I am here. Allah didn't say tell them. Allah said, whenever they ask you about me, I am near. Allah didn't bring Rasulullah in the middle. Allah is answering for himself. And also, did the slave ask, where is Allah? Allah said, when the slave asked, he didn't say what my slave is asking. We can ask a lot of things about Allah. We can say what Allah likes, what Allah makes halal for us. Is Allah wants to do 5 times salah? Is Allah wants to do more love? So we have a lot of questions. The Sahaba has a lot of questions about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But why Allah said about one question, that as if the slaves are asking, where is Allah? They didn't ask, where is Allah? Where is Allah is one of the questions. But Allah is saying, I am near. And why Allah say I am near? Because when you feel that Allah is near to you, then you have the taqwa. Then you know that when you, even if you're alone, even if you have opportunity to do something bad, you won't do it because you know Allah is near to you. And this is one of the main principles of attaining taqwa. And that's why Allah said, whenever they call me, I respond to them immediately. Allah is saying, no, in this ayah, whenever they call me, make dua to me, I will respond to them immediately. We gave the example before. If you love some, famous person, we talked about Michael Jackson, right? If you call Michael Jackson because you are a big fan, will he receive your call? Forget about Michael Jackson. If you call a sheikh in Sydney, they're so busy. If we ask a question, maybe they say, brother, I'm too busy, I'll answer your question later on. But Allah said, whenever you call him right away, doesn't matter where you're calling from, who are you? Doesn't matter you're praying or you're a hafiz or what, Allah will answer to you right away. And Allah said, if I answer to them right away, now they should at least try to answer to me. Meaning we should also at least try to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, to try to follow his guidance. That's what Allah means in this ayah. The next ayah, this is another law of Ramadan also. Basically, I'll just quickly go through this one. Allah talk about here that in the previous law of Ramadan, people used to fast from the Maghrib. So Maghrib is finished, you start fasting. And you again, so it's like 24 hours. And you again break your fast in the next day Maghrib. That was the previous rule. One of the Jewish tribes to follow this rule. And at that time, you are not allowed to be close to your wife. Because you are fasting from Maghrib. You cannot do anything at night. So Allah is saying no. For you, for the new Ummah, Allah made it easy for you. That at night it is permissible for you to be close to be intimate to your spouse. And there is no harm in that. And also Allah is saying a beautiful ayah is here, part of the ayah. Allah said, Hunna libasuhul lakum wa antum libasul lahum. It is the golden ayah, you can say golden ayah for a marriage life. You just don't need anything else, only this ayah is perfect. Allah said Allah's talking about the girls, the ladies, they are just like your clothes, libas. Libas means clothes. And you are clothed to them. What a beautiful ayah. Why do you wear clothes? So many purpose, right? We wear clothes to protect ourselves so that we don't get ashamed of people of others. We wear clothes to protect us from the winter and everything. We wear clothes to beautify ourselves. And your spouse, you for your spouse and your spouse for yourself are the same thing. They should beautify yourself. So whenever you meet with your spouse, she should say something like this, or she should behave the same way. So people should know, yes, this is her wife and she is beautifying you. At the same way, you should beautify her. You should protect her and everything. In this 4 or 5 words, Allah said the whole thing, And if you find in the YouTube, you will find lectures on this ayah only this part of the ayah. And then Allah said that, there was some Sahaba, it's an incident that some Sahaba was confused with the previous law of Ramadan and next law. So although they knew that initially it is not allowed to be close to your wife, but they became close during the day. But Allah said, you did it because you're the new Ummah, so I forgave you. So no problem in that. And Allah also said that, when to fast, like what is the suhoor time. Allah said that you start eating, you eat until the suhoor, meaning when the light, the sehri time if you have. So that time, and Allah said you do not eat until the Maghrib, until the right. So basically Allah giving the timing of the Ramadan in this one. So up to this one we finish the ayahs of the Ramadan. Now this is the small ayah about the bribery, as I said. So basically Allah is saying in this ayah that you should not eat other people's wealth, and you should not give money to the people of authority. So this is a very clear concept. I'm not going to go in detail that bribery is not allowed in Islam, and as Allah mentioned it here. Another thing Allah mentioned here that bribing people, it is a collective crime. So if you bribe to someone, you may think that I'm not doing harm to anyone. I'm just giving him a gift so that he can do my work. But by doing this, you are corrupting the whole society, and this is what happened. The countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, and even some people are here also, and this is how the corruption is spread. The next ayah is about the ayah about the Allah is asking, saying to Rasulullah, people ask about the moon. So when they see in the moon is like a measurement for Islamic calendar, as you all know. So this is the ayah is about that one. Allah is saying moon is not only for Ramadan. By looking at the moon, you also have the time of Hajj. So Allah is introducing Hajj in this ayah. Allah is saying, and if you look at this thing, from the beginning, all the 5 pillars of Islam has been touched. The first thing we talked about the Qibla. When do we use Qibla? For Salah. Before that, we had Iman. Allah talked about the Iman. That Allah give us the Iman and everything. So we talked about the Iman, we talked about the Salah, we talked about the charity, the Zakah and everything, how we should give money to the poor people, to our poor relatives and everything. And then we talked about the Siyam, and this is the last pillar, Hajj. So Allah is talking about the Hajj here, and Allah is saying that, like you hang a calendar in the wall, Allah hang the moon in the sky for the calendar, basically. That's what the scholar said, by looking at the moon, you can determine the months, and you can start get ready for your Hajj. Now, these 5 ayahs, actually the initial laws of the jihad, and a lot of scholars say the ayah number 190, it is the first command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the jihad, in fi sabilillah. Now you have to understand one thing, just one ayah before Allah talked about Hajj. So Allah should give some more ayah about Hajj, right? There's only one ayah. Next ayah, Allah started about jihad. Allah talks 5 ayah about jihad. Why is that? Why this switch? Why this change? Because you have to remember, this Surah Al-Baqarah came into where? Medina. Can you do Hajj in Medina? You cannot do Hajj in Medina. Where do you have to go to do Hajj? Makkah. Who is in Makkah now? Makkah is under the Quraysh. Abu Sufyan is there, right? And they just been expelled. Rasulullah and all the Sahaba, they have been expelled from Makkah because their life was in threatened. So they left Makkah and come here. Why? Because of this reason, right? So to do Hajj, you have to make sure that you go there and you have to fight them. You cannot just go to the Quraysh and say, look, we came here for Hajj, please, this is our visa, give us some time, we'll do Tawaf, we'll do Mina, Safa, Marwa, and then we'll go back. No, they won't even let you inside go in. So Allah is giving them indication that this time is coming very soon, and this is just before the Battle of Badr. They know you have to fight for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the meaning of Siyam that I was telling you, you will be surprised to know the Siyam, the word Siyam in Arabic language, before the law of Ramadan came, it means to make your horse ready for the battle. In Arab, they use 2 kind of animals, camel and horse, you know that, right? But camel is good for traveling, but not for battle, not for war. Because camel is, it's slow and it's big. So Siyam means when you make your horse ready for the next battle, that thing is called Siyam. So when Allah talked about the, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyam, the first thing people come now, I am the horse. The believer at that time, they say, I am the horse, Allah is making ready for me. And that is actually one of the meaning. Allah, by fasting, by Siyam, you are getting ready yourself, attaining taqwa. And without the taqwa, you can't even fight for the jihad fi sabilillah. You cannot fight for the jihad fi sabilillah. So Allah mentioned that few ayats here, and this ayah, if you read it by yourself, and if you Google these things, you will see a lot of books has been written by non-Muslim, because look, what does Quran say? You can read it now actually, and kill them wherever you overtake them, and expel them. So Allah says, your Quran says to kill people. This is the ayah. And there's other ayah in Surah At-Tawbah also. And also Allah says, fight them until there is no fitna. So Allah is your Quran is encouraging people for fight. And these are the ayah actually some Muslim group have taken, group like ISIS and everything. They say, Allah is saying to kill. Allah is saying to kill them, wherever you find them. But they say it out of the context. Allah is saying here because Allah is preparing those people, because they are in the war basically. At that time it is a completely different situation. And also you have to understand, every country nowadays has their own army. But at that time nobody has their own army. There is a defense department, a naval department, Air Force department. Everybody is army by themselves. If I give an example, like if there's a Khalifa and if you want to have jihad, I have to do jihad. The guy who's running the grocery store, he has to do jihad. The guy who's in the train station selling the ticket, he has to do jihad. Everybody became an army. And who is their commander? It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has to command them. Who else is going to come them and train them? Do they have a brigadier or colonel or a lieutenant colonel general? No. They are waiting from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, instruction from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Where else they are going to be trained? By for the jihad. And these are the commands for the discipline for the cadet. If you can say that these are the cadet command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that this is how you have to do. They killed you, they expelled you from your home. So when you go there and you fight them. And the first thing Allah said, look, do not transgress. This is a very important thing. Allah saying, is you fight with them, but when they give up, they hands up, you also hands up. You don't transgress. Because when you're in the fighting mood, you know, even in our normal life, when you get angry, we don't know what we're doing. We throw things, we slap somebody or something like this, it becomes. So Allah is saying, don't transgress, and these are the things you have to follow. And Allah is talking about fitna. Fitna here means, in this ayah, it means the shirk that people are doing in Makkah. They put idols, 360 idols inside the Makkah. That is a fitna. Allah is saying, killing is much better than shirk. So Allah is saying this, both of them are not good. Killing is also not good, shirk is also not good, but shirk is worst. So you should fight to them. And Allah also saying, giving some prediction also here. Allah is saying, when you go near to the Masjidul Haram, near to Masjidul Kaaba, don't fight them until they fight you. So believer is thinking, why Allah is saying, we don't even can go to Makkah, how can we fight in front of the Kaaba? But Allah is predicting for them that yes, you're gonna go there. Very soon in 8 years or 10 years time, you will conquer the Makkah, and at that time, you will have the authority to fight. But if you fight with the taqwa inside you. If someone says, yeah, I give up and I accept Islam, accept it, don't transgress, don't do the other harms and everything. So in general, these are the ayahs talks about this one. So inshallah ta'ala, we'll finish in ayah number 195. From ayah 196, we'll start after the week after next. That start about at least 5 or 6 ayat about the Hajj, the real Hajj, like the Hajj that we did, how to do the Safa Marwa, how to go to the Mina, how to go to the Muzdalifah. All these things are mentioned on this ayah, and you probably have gone through those ayah, people who went to Hajj before all the lectures. So inshallah we'll do it next week, week after next. So next week, inshallah ta'ala, we'll take a small quiz about the 3 week, and the quiz will be based on this one as I mentioned, and based on the videos that uploaded in the YouTube. Jazakallahu khair, subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.